Warning: the following video contains spoilers relating to the content in question. If you do not wish to be spoiled, click out of this video now.
Last season saw Spartacus and his little band defeat Glaber and his army at Vesuvius. This season begins with Spartacus handing another Roman army its ass. Only this time, his numbers have swelled, enough to make Rome itself quiver. Long gone are the days of petty guerrilla warfare. Now Spartacus has an army, and he's facing legions on the open field. Of course, this brings with it entirely new problems, as well as an entirely new adversary. But first, Spartacus himself and some of the new players. Liam McIntyre, yeah, that's what I'm going with, is back as Spartacus, and by this point, I completely got over the recast. After spending a season with him as Spartacus, it feels right. He is Spartacus now, and in this season, he kills it. He just might be as great as Andy Whitfield was. And in this season, he's about to meet his equal, Marcus Licinius Crassus, played by Simon Merrills. As much as I love John Hanna's Batiatus, my favorite antagonist in the show is without a doubt Crassus. He's only mentioned in the first two seasons, but the way people talk about him, you know he's not a guy to be trifled with. And in War of the Damned, we finally get to meet him. And you know, I was expecting another pompous oath, like many of the other Romans we've seen in the series. The second he was introduced, he was anything but. Marcus Crassus is a great villain. And the thing is, Spartacus doesn't have any personal stakes in his battle with Crassus like Batiatus, who killed his wife, or Glaber, who condemned him to slavery. Crassus is simply the man sent by Rome to put down his rebellion. But what sets Crassus apart from, and even above, Batiatus and Glaber, he's the only one who manages to outwit Spartacus. And he's also the only one who sees Spartacus as an equal and engages him as such. Batiatus just saw Spartacus as a beast he could ride to the top. Glaber saw him as just a lowly slave nuisance. Crassus, on the other hand, sees Spartacus as an intelligent, tactical genius that could kick his sorry ass if he wasn't careful. And he was right. And it's this respect that allowed Crassus to outwit Spartacus on several occasions. Although Crassus' son, Tiberius, who I honestly can't decide whether or not he's worse than Joffrey, keeps Batiatus's and Glaber's mindset alive and well. But what does Crassus do about it? He sets that punk straight, that's what. This shows Crassus' more sympathetic side. He doesn't treat his slaves like shit. Hell, he even loves his slave Kore more than his own wife. Which leads me to why I think this season is by far the best. In previous seasons, there was no doubt who you were supposed to be rooting for and who you were supposed to be rooting against. The slaves were living in horrible conditions under terrible, oppressive masters. And did I mention that they were slaves? And the Romans were, at best, bloodthirsty, pompous oafs, and at worst, devious, bloodthirsty murderers. The previous seasons were a lot more black and white, but this season adds a few shades of gray. Before, the slaves were who we're without a sliver of doubt supposed to root for and sympathize with. But this season, the rebel slaves do quite a lot of unsympathetic things. They massacre Roman civilians, even children, simply to satisfy their vengeful bloodlust. Hell, characters we loved in previous seasons, namely Crassus and Naevia, do some extremely despicable things that made me hate them. It seems all they wanted to do was kill any Roman they could get their hands on, simply to satisfy their bloodlust. Naevia especially, though. She just straight up murders a Roman blacksmith simply because he was Roman. He wasn't guilty of any crime but being born Roman. God, fuck Naevia. And while we're on that topic, I forgot to mention in my Vengeance video that Naevia was also recast, replaced by Cynthia Adai Robinson. And, well, she was good. Except when she was trying to be, more badass when she killed Asher, I didn't really buy it. And this season, I really didn't buy it. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's her performance, maybe it's the way the writers wanted her to be. I mean, they probably wanted to make her more questionable, but God, I am not buying this badass, quote-unquote, Naevia that she's trying to sell this season. I mean, her constantly angry tone whenever she talks, that fucking hairstyle of hers, oh God, just, are you for fucking real?
The man himself, greeting his wife with kiss and warm smile, his daughters laughing upon his knee. The beast from the previous night transformed into a man who held no threat.
Ugh. Anyway, the slaves were no longer the morally righteous heroes, and the Romans were no longer the clear-cut villains. With characters like Laida, and even Caesar has a touching moment with a tortured Roman girl. Oh wait, did I mention Julius Caesar was in this season? This was a much more morally ambiguous season where we were made to question the actions of our heroes and made to sympathize with and or like the Romans more. The performances, or well, most of them, worked fantastic, the characters were great as always, and it all ended in a fucking epic final battle that may have finally topped the Blood and Sand finale. And it all wrapped up in what was a perfect bittersweet ending to an absolutely fantastic show. If you agree or disagree with this video, be sure to discuss in the comments section, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also be sure to check out my blog at The Critical Canucks at blogspot.ca, and also be sure to follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook, all that jazz. Links to all those are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be seeing you next time. Peace out, everybody.